Hi, everybody. My name is Hannah Bernstein. I am a freshman at Ohio State, and this summer I interned at the International Maize and Wheat Improvement Center. I worked with Dr. Silvano Zadojo on post-harvest loss in Mexico. So let's begin by talking about smallholder farmers in Mexico. So the size of an average smallholder farm is 1 to 5 hectares, which is pretty small. And so some of the issues that farmers face is food security and food loss. And this, I'm going to be following the definition of the FAO, which has 4 components of physical availability, economic access, food utilization, and stability. And we'll come back to this when we start talking about post-harvest loss. So my internship was focused on post-harvest loss, and post-harvest loss is food loss between the harvest and the market stage. And this is an important issue because smallholder farmers in Mexico are not raising maize just for market. They're also raising it for their individual families' consumption. And so by minimizing post-harvest loss, we can improve farmers' food security. And also part of my internship was doing practical exercises. And this one was focused on moisture contact, kind of replicating the experience of post-harvest. So this exercise really showed me the importance of good post-harvest practices. And so let's talk about these technologies. So the conventional technologies is a polypropylene bag, which is not really good at minimizing post-harvest loss because pests can just get in, and mold and fungus can also easily grow. So hermetic technologies is what Summit is trying to promote. And so this is what you can see in the left-hand corner, which is a hermetic plastic bag. And basically in these technologies, a modified atmosphere is created so that whatever pests are already in there, they basically asphyxiate, and then also no really mold or fungus can grow in. And then it's also tough enough of a structure that no new pests can come in. Farmers are kind of hesitant to switch over, even though this is something Summit is promoting because of the initial startup costs. And so this brings us to alternative hermetic technologies, which is recycled plastic bottles, which also creates that hermetic atmosphere. There's alternative conditioning agents, which is taking the conventional polypropylene bag, and then farmers will mix inert dust like micronized lime in the maize. And though it's technically effective, the cost to human health is not really well known. And so this brings us to solutions, and that also what we studied. So Sima asked farmers to pick a couple of the technologies and let them observe. And so what we found was that there was not a huge difference between the losses between the technologies, and this was due to good post-harvest practices, which is something that Summit is trying to promote in addition to the technologies. And this is extremely important because having good post-harvest practices like ensuring clean area and cleaning the grain and prepping the grain for storage will help the storage process, because you can't just not do anything and then expect the technologies to work. And so it's really great when you see that there's very low losses because of good post-harvest practices. But then we also need to talk about farmers' preference. So you can have the best hermetic technology in the world, the best method, but if you can't convince farmers that this is something they should put their time and effort into, then it's not worth it at all. And so this brings us to the Smiley scale, which you can see at the bottom. And so in addition to farmers, the technical data that was taken, farmers were asked to rate their preferences based off of this scale. And so what we found was that although there wasn't a very big difference between the technological data, there was a huge difference in farmers' preferences. So farmers really preferred hermetic plastic bags, which is on the left in this picture. And this is extremely important because Summit can now take this information and bring it to other farmers and be like, okay, now we know what farmers prefer. And so now I want to wrap up a little bit and talk about the individual impact that this internship had on me and what I hope to do with it in the future. So like I was talking about earlier, now I really understand the importance of having other people's perspectives and understanding farmers' issues and also their experiences, because we can't really promote all of these technologies without understanding whether or not it's actually going to be implemented. You can have all the technologies in the world, but if it's not being used, then what you've invested in is basically worthless. And I think this is extremely important, especially as I want to become an engineer. And so I really am going to value this experience. And so with that, I really want to thank the World Food Prize and Summit and Sylvanas for taking me on this summer and giving me this experience. Thank you so much.